Hello, everybody. You're very welcome to another episode of Waking Up to Your True Potential. My name is Laura Verninkowski, and I'm an international life and relationship coach. And I coach in English, Spanish, Finnish, and Italian. I'm so excited to have my guest today. My guest today is Dr. Mary Helen Hensley, and she's a metaphysical healer, a chiropractor, an international speaker, and an author. And she's written 9 books, and she's working on number 10, 11, and 12. And she's currently launching a screenplay as well. So I mean that is just so that's just so amazing and so impressive. And she's American, and she's been in Ireland for 22 years, and she lives in Los Angeles in the summers. So you're very welcome, Mary Helen. It's so nice to see you today.
It's so nice to see you too. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to have you, here today. And you're just so talented. And, like, it's amazing that you've written so many books, and, you're working on, 10, 11, and 12, and you're working on a screenplay as well. You're like a superwoman, and what I love about you is that, you have so much energy, and like you're so full of life, and you're so, full of joy, and I love that about you, and
ADAD, attention dialed into another dimension.
yeah, exactly. I love that. So you're always working, you're so talented, and you know about so many different things. So can you tell me what exciting things you're working on right now?
Oh gosh. Well, it's been really amazing because this year, after taking a very long hiatus, I ended up coming back in and covering my own practice, which that's crazy. Because I'd taken a couple of years where, with writing books and traveling and speaking and promotion and all that kind of stuff. And then my doctor left. And so I ended up having to come back and cover my own practice. And I was like, what is going on? The universe does provide. And, there's always a reason for everything.
Yeah.
And it finally hit me in the midst of the pandemic and, all of the just overwhelming fear and angst and super saturation that people are experiencing. I suddenly realized that I was really getting to put one of those unique gifts that I came back with post near-death experience
Right.
was this a sort of synesthesia. And so, long story short, I broke my neck, died in 1991 in a car accident, and had an extensive near-death experience, which is what a good few of my books are about.
Yeah.
So I have this whole kind of relationship with the other side, the other sides, plural.
Right.
And so frequency and vibration are huge in my life. Everything that I do with healing, when you're, as a healer, I actually call myself more like a window washer. It's like you're wiping the window clean so that people can find their own way home. And what's interesting about frequency and vibration is it's providing other people the opportunity to not put their faith and efforts into something outside of themselves, but to introduce them to frequencies so they can heal themselves.
Yes.
And so I get back into my office, and lo and behold, I've got my hands on all these people again, and I'm back in that flow of doctor-patient relationship, and going, what am I doing here? Because when you've done that part, and then you find yourself back there, my eyes are open, my ears are open. I'm like, why am I back here? What's the gift in this? What am I bringing here? And suddenly it dawned on me, this synesthesia that I have, which is that crisscrossing of senses. So, there are some people who can hear a piece of music and see color. I touch a human body, I interact with someone, and I hear sounds.
Wow.
And so many years later doing this, the reason I'm able to do good work in healing is because after having my hands on so many people, it's like, things start to sound the same. And so you start to hear this particular cancer sounds this way, or this emotional state sounds this way. This person who's in this suicidal state sounds this way. Wow. And they all started kind of matching up. So all of a sudden I realized from December until now, the reason that I've been back in here is because so many people were going through the angst and the absolute division that this pandemic and the vaccination issue is creating. And so you've got just as many people who are doing it, and then those who don't want to do it. And I'm always, look, you do you. All I'm fighting for is choice. Whatever you choose to do, rock on with your bad self. That's great.
Yeah.
But as long as there's choice involved, you know, I'm good. When there's not, we've got problems.
Yeah.
And so I suddenly realized that I was able to touch and pitch people who had COVID and people who were getting the vaccination. So over the course of the last couple of months, I've been able to hone in and fine tune the actual frequency down to the 1000th hertz of what COVID is and what the COVID vaccine sounds like. So I worked with my sound engineer out in Los Angeles, and we were able to embed the frequencies in a piece of meditation music that's full of all sorts of really great brainwave states and, you know, different frequencies to help people heal from the actual physical aspect of the virus, but the emotional and the spiritual aspect as well, because that's what we're seeing here. Never have we seen something that has involved all three parts. And that's why I'm I'm having the time of my life with this pandemic. You know, you know, I had COVID. There's no, I don't have any fear with this. I know people die, but people die every day.
Right.
And, you know, like there's some people who are in far less traumatic car accidents who died, and I broke my neck, had the near-death experience, and came back, you know? So it's like there are people who smoke till they're 100 and never have an issue. And then there are people who smoke 10 years and then they die. So that's kind of how this plane works. And so it's been really fascinating working with these frequencies and trying to create something that can take people out of this angst-ridden state and allow them to find the gifts within. Because while some people might be struggling right now with the physical aspect of COVID, there are other people who have utilized the time to leave a job they didn't like, or to deal with a separation issue within the family, or to draw the line on where they stand morally. It's presenting so many absolutely amazing opportunities for people. So what I'm doing is trying to create a platform that they can better express, better evolve, better explore what this time in life has to offer them right now. So that's where I am at the moment. So I'm working full time, but I'm also dealing with these frequencies. And so I'm very fortunate that I finally found in my travels someone who created a bed that can amplify all of these frequencies that we've been developing over the last few years based on these things that I can hear. So like if I can hear, you know, if I can hear the resonance of human DNA at 528 hertz, I can now amplify it through a healing table into the individual's body and their field, as opposed to just their ears. So now healing becomes an immersive experience. So that's really fun. And the last book that I just did, I guess second to last, Understanding is the New Healing. This was an exciting venture because it's the very first book in Audible history that is backed by these healing frequencies. So if you are listening to a story and the story might not be exactly something that happened in your life, but you might resonate with the feel of the story. There are frequencies and brainwave states to allow you to immerse yourself into the story and take the opportunity to utilize the vibration behind the words in order to heal yourself from a past trauma.
Wow. Wow, that sounds fascinating, you know, and like all the, I mean, I definitely believe in, you know, sound healing, you know, definitely, but you're taking it to another level. You know, like you're taking it to another level, and it's fascinating how you actually, you know, when you put your hands on somebody, how you actually hear the sounds. And how you've seen that there's different sounds, you know, connected to different illnesses and, you know, different states of mind. And that's just amazing.
For example, yesterday was a really strange day. I don't know what's going on or what the vibe in the area is, but this is not a lie, I had 3 different individuals who came in the course of a very busy day who were actually, you're the last chance saloon, sunshine, I'm on my way to kill myself. I mean, it was
really?
oh yeah, it
You
was a
had
big
3 suicidal people in 1
3 within the
day.
last 24 hours. Yeah, it was just high. So I mean, I kind of went home
Wow.
spent, because it's like people are kind of reaching that breaking point. And the beauty
Yeah.
about the work I'm doing with the frequency is I was able to go, okay, come with me, put them on that
Wow.
table, blow those frequencies through the body. And what it does is it changes their state instantly. So
Okay.
they're vibing in this space and they see no way out. And the only way out is to end everything. And that's the only way to make the pain stop. And then whack, the frequency
Wow.
goes in and it bypasses all the chatter,
Yeah.
the hamsters on the wheel,
Yeah, all the yeah.
and it takes them back into this space where for that period of time, they get to go, oh yeah. So for
Wow.
me, I had to go die and do that, to
Yeah.
understand that. So I've
Yeah.
been working for all these years trying to fine tune it into a way where people don't actually have to leave the physical body to go learn that lesson. So it's
Okay.
bringing them into an immersive state where they can go, oh yeah, that's what it feels like not to be connected to the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is what a healthy body feels like. And then they can
Wow.
make choices. And once they're in that space where they're not in that kind of fight or flight, adrenal fueled terror, they can
Yeah.
actually start thinking straight again. And
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
gift
Yeah.
of being able to present people with the frequencies. And so, like I put a little
Yeah.
package together, that's on my website that has a listener's guide with it where people can go
Yeah.
on any given moment going, well, this is what I'm dealing with today. And you go, okay, there's the frequency for that. And they sit with it.
Yeah.
And the human brain is really interesting because, we know that it takes about 21 to 28 days to reprogram a neural pathway in the brain. And
Mm.
so taking it one step beyond as far, when you're talking about reprogramming, the only
Yeah.
way you can experience trauma is via a chemical reaction that takes place in the brain that takes you back to a cellular memory of something that is no longer happening. That's a
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can go to therapy for 7 years and with your shovel and fill in the potholes on the way back to all that trauma, or you
Yeah.
can go in with a big fat frequency stick of dynamite and blow it up.
Yeah. I like
And
that. I like that
blow it up,
option. I
blow
like
it up.
that. Blow
And
it up.
so
Blow it up.
when you've done that,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
forces the brain's anatomy to go, oh, hang on a second, we need to deal with this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to grow and create new synapses and create a new neural pathway based on who I am in this moment right now, as opposed to all my BS stories
Yeah. All the
about that
talk.
trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you start to heal. It's incredible. Our
Yeah.
design package is so amazing. And what's happened is the challenge, the great thing about being human, this is the juicy bit, is
Yeah.
there are all of these things in place to try and force us to forget that we possess that power. And
Yeah.
so the beauty of the game is rediscovering that and finding your way out of that and emerging as this beautiful butterfly, and then, so what does the butterfly care of the discarded cocoon? I'm sorry you had a traumatic past. I'm flying now,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's teaching people to embrace that. And it's something that we all possess. That's the great news.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. I love that. And going back to the energies of of yesterday, it was the Lionsgate portal and the new moon in Leo. And I give astrology talks all the time. I'm not an astrologer, but I know a lot about astrology. So I give these
Girl,
talks
what
all the
was
time.
happening?
It was intense. It was, I mean, I was feeling it, like it was really, really intense, but it's amazing that you literally saved 3 people, 3 suicidal people yesterday with your blasts
I
of
helped
energy.
3 save themselves. All you have
yeah.
to do is pull them in and go,
Yeah.
shh, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, stop talking, lie down there. And then they just sit for a second and then they go, oh yeah, everything is okay. Actually, everything's okay. But what's happening is you've got an entire world of people right now. If you can picture a glass of water that's full to the brim, and then you come along with a pitcher every single day and you just keep pouring it on top and the water is flowing over top. That's what people are experiencing right now. They're super saturated. This is why you would think after all this time off and this great, we've had this big, great rest and all this, that you think people are going to be lovely. People are on their last leg right now.
Oh, I know.
They are just highly wound up, totally, they're strung out. They're having real trouble interacting with, going back into their workplaces with their spouses. You've got families where, you know, back in the day when these stories would play out, and let's say it was about religious division,
Yeah.
you at least had a family that 9 times out of 10 was going to be in the same space as you with that.
Yeah.
It was an us against them kind of thing.
Yeah.
Us against them is now happening in the family.
I know.
And
That's why
this
it's
is
so bad.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's also a crazy fun time for people to actually be learning how to deal with this stuff. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy fun time. Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's just so many levels to this, right? Like there's just so many, there's so many levels to it. But I find it fascinating that it's like, yeah, that it's like you literally like burst them with this energy, and then all of that inner talk, it's all those crazy stories, right? I always talk about the stories as well. This is something that I talk in my coaching all the time. That you can't change what happened in the past, but you can change the story of what you're telling yourself about what happened in the past, right? And that's what makes all the difference, right?
Exactly. And then you take it another step further and go into the frequency of that.
Yeah.
You know, the frequency of this is so fascinating to me. The frequency of 396 hertz. This deals with fear, guilt, shame, grief, anger, self-loathing, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh gosh, that's a lot. Yeah. And here's what's happened when people get super saturated like they are right now, their signals start to get crossed.
Yeah.
And so an example of this would be if I'm driving down the road and I'm so full of that anxiety and I get to a traffic light, and let's say I stop and then the light turns green and I go and someone walks out in front of me, the appropriate response would be, and that frightens me because I almost hit that person. Instead, I could pull over and then start bawling on the side of the road because now I'm grieving the loss of my father. And this is what's happening to people. They're getting these cross signals where they're so full that rather than having an appropriate reaction to something, they're pulling on whatever's available. And so when you're vibing at 396 hertz, it could literally be fear, grief, guilt, shame.
Yeah.
So somebody says something to you and then you totally internalize it.
Yeah.
And it really didn't have anything to do with you in the first place.
Yeah.
And then there's a beautiful best friend to that frequency, which is 417 hertz, which actually allows you to take the wisdom of an experience without going back and having to bring the trauma forward. So it's like, thank you for that story. I can take this book out and I can talk about it like the toast I ate for breakfast this morning, and I can close it up and put it back on the shelf. Right.
Yeah.
And that running a 417 with a 396 allows you to go back into the trauma that created the memory that created the trauma, and then to go in and disconnect it from actually having any say so. The best way I could put it, is it allows the experience of the past to have a voice but not a vote.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, because people are they're so stuck and so defined by their past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're so stuck and so defined by that past. So it's great to have like these, systems where you can just like break through, break through all of that, it's like a major breakthrough experience into a different frequency, right? Because it's all about the frequency. It really,
everything is frequency and light, sped up or slowed down. Everything.
Yeah, everything. Literally, everything is frequency. Yeah. Everything is energy, and everything is frequency. And what would you say? What would you say to people? Like, what would be like your top tips for people to do on a daily basis, so that would help their energy and their frequency?
Okay, so that's why we created the frequencies. And like I mentioned, there's a download actually on my website, which is maryhelenhensley.com.
Okay.
And, they download that. And this is, oh gosh, it's like years and years and years of work just put into this little package. And then there's an explanation for things. And they can go in and go, okay, well, this is what I want to work on today.
Yeah.
And so using that frequency, and like I said, if you're actually looking to change a state of something, then you have to get into a cycle of that 21 to 28 days of repetition. And it's such a small thing you can do. There's pure tones you can do that with. There's brainwave states and music that we've buried stuff into to make it easier to listen to. You can, if you go onto Spotify
Mhm.
and you type in signs, SINES, signs music, there's all sorts of incredible uh, frequencies and pieces that people can listen to, meditative pieces and all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as like the day-to-day grind, that one download, which people can just stick on their device and then put on their phones or whatever, like I've kind of got all the bases covered there. And so
Yes.
it's like your go-to spiritual frequency homeopathy kit, you know. And
That sounds great. Yeah.
yeah, you know, so
Yeah.
there's everything from physical pain to emotional pain to accessing those who are no longer in the body to
Yeah.
it's all there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's a really
That's-
easy way. So just wanted to put it in a really nice, compact, easy thing that, you know, so say somebody is prone to panic attacks, and there are a lot of people now who are in that
Yeah.
category. You know,
Definitely. Yeah.
852 hertz addresses that, and they can download that pure tone frequency onto the phone. They're out somewhere, they're having a moment, go into the
Yeah.
bathroom, pop the earphones in, listen to it, and Bob's your uncle. Gone.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
It's
amazing.
just about changing your state.
Yeah, exactly. And something that just came to my mind right now is that I think that people should be more aware of the type of information and energy that they're, ingesting every day, right? Like in all ways, right? Like what kind of music are you listening to? Like what
Well,
kind of news, like all of that, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
What's so important to remember is that everything is food.
Yeah.
And if you take one thing out of this is it. Everything is food. And
Yes.
it covers everything that you could think of, down to, you know, where you've got people who are going, oh my gosh, you know, so many people are becoming vegetarian and vegan. And, you know, if that's what feels good in your body,
Yeah.
rock on. But
Yeah.
if you're doing it from a place of saying, well, I'm going to do this because you know, because that body has a soul, and that says, let me spoiler alert this thing for you.
Yeah.
Everything is food, and everything carries a frequency, and everything carries an essence. So what you
Yes.
have to come to terms with is what best serves your vessel, because you
Yeah.
could be sure in this hologram that everything is here at your fingertips to serve. And so you need to figure out what makes that body rock. And for some
Yeah.
people, you know,
Yeah.
I know some extraordinarily incredibly switched on people who eat nothing but meat. And I know some incredibly switched on people who, you know, they wear only vegan clothes and they eat only vegan food. You know,
Yeah.
it's not an if or, because it's all about what that individual soul is here to experience. And so the
Right.
delusion that people tell themselves, oh, well, I couldn't eat that, you know, because I have a dog and my dog has a face and a soul. And I'm
Right.
sorry, but plants can feel. And if you had done the type of work that I had with plant vibration, you know,
Yeah.
working on an album at the moment that is plant based,
Mhm.
because they emit sound frequency, they can feel, they can hear, they can see. And
Yeah.
so if you're going to tell me that doesn't mean as
Mm.
much to that broccoli because, you know, because you don't eat meat, you know,
Right.
that argument is completely lost on me, because
Okay.
every single thing, including this book in front of me, this table here, carries a frequency and a vibration, everything. And
Yes.
it's all made
Everything.
of essence. They're all fractals of the same whole. And you can
Yes.
really tell how far someone has come along on their journey, by how they don't divide it up. You know, oh, if you do this, then you're this, or if you eat this, then you're this.
Okay.
You're just as much part of promoting the division as someone that you might consider highly unevolved. And so
Right.
it's
Right.
a
Yeah.
really a big thing to think about, that everything you ingest through your eyes, through your ears, and through your mouth, through your skin, through your
Through
environment, through your thoughts, it's
everything.
all food, all of it.
Yeah. All of it. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, it's so true. And I think that people need to be more mindful and more aware of the type of food that they ingest, right? Because I think that, most people don't even think about it. If you're ingesting toxic food all the time,
Mm-hmm.
in different ways, obviously that's going to have an impact on your energy, your frequency, and your vibration, right?
But there's also people who have mastered frequency to the point where they can raise the vibration of anything that goes in their mouth. Because I
Oh,
would say
right.
to somebody, you could bang on about the fact that, you know, oh, I've got to eat this type of food because this is high vibe food and this, and then you see them over on Twitter having a row with somebody because they don't eat, believe, think the same way that they do, and they're firing in all this toxic fuel about how awful this person is for not being aware of the environment. And I'm going, let's have a little chat about toxicity, sunshine. You know, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
The jig is up. You know, the jig is up.
Yeah, definitely. And like when you think of, you know, the world has changed so much, right? Like, you know, I think that in a way it's the, you know, the pre-corona, pre-COVID world, and then, you know, the world after, right? And a lot of people are talking about, you know, the new earth, you know, like, you know, now we're, you know, forming and creating that new earth, right? So what does that new earth look like for you? Or how would you, how would you see this new earth?
Right now I see that new earth is gloriously tumultuous.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm actually really glad because I can remember about maybe between 2 and 3 years ago, I think I'd taken the dogs out or something. And I was standing outside and I just suddenly went, I'm really bored. I'm really bored. And I went, God, that's strange coming out of me because I'm never bored. Do you know?
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, I feel so kind of unchallenged with the way things are. Do you know? It's like, oh, you know, something had to change.
Right.
And so for me, when everything did change, I saw it, I welcomed it as this incredible, exciting, ooh, okay, this is fun, you know? Ooh, because I'm the person who's like, yay, uncomfortable. You know, because I don't think everything's supposed to feel good. And I spend all of my time, especially telling people who are light workers, it's not supposed to feel good all of the time, you know, and they think they've evolved into a space where nothing hurts any longer or whatever. And I'm going, then you've stopped learning. Why are you still here?
Why are you still here?
Like, really? You know, so I really like the idea that this is super uncomfortable and very challenging. And, you know, I'm having to deal with a world that, you know, everything's moving online and, you know, I'm not very comfortable with that. But I'm having to find a way to work around that. And I'm also getting the chance to share aspects of myself that otherwise weren't heard. You know, 22 years I'm sitting in this office and I'm promoting health and the importance of taking care of oneself. And now all of a sudden people are like, gosh, I can't speak to my GP in person. And I just got charged $80 for a phone call where he diagnosed me and the secretary wrote a prescription for me. Wow. And so people are starting to go, gosh, you know what? I think I should probably look into taking a little bit better care of myself so I don't need to do that anymore.
Right.
Do you know? And it's really interesting watching this shift. I mean, I've never been as busy. And, you know, people are beginning to invest that time in themselves. And they're kind of going, oh, this is bizarre. I don't really think I like the idea of, you know, my doctor's secretary just handing me a prescription for something. You know, gosh, this is very strange. And so they're having to reinvent and create a new way to deal with health and issues. And they're exploring things that, you know, maybe they thought were a bit woo woo or crackpot in the past. And now they're like, okay, there's a bit of sense to this. Hang on a second. Wait a second. I'm in control of my emotional state. That's not his fault. That's not her fault. You know, now I'm like, ooh, this is really fun because we're asking some really, really, really deep and serious questions. And is it causing great division? Yes, but the division was necessary right now. I think the angst that's being caused by it is getting people to ask the really big questions, you know, because they've gotten complacent about those things. And it was, you know, guess what? It's not your government's job to take care of you. It's not your government's job to ensure the safety and the health of your family. It's your job.
It's your job. Yeah.
Do you know? Definitely. And so people are beginning to realize that because they're getting let down left, right, and center. And all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, I have to inject something in my body in order to be able to go travel. Are you serious? Wait a minute. I better speak up here. Where in the past they were letting somebody else speak up on their behalf. Do you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think
it's really, really bringing us to the surface of some exciting times.
Yeah, definitely exciting times. And I think that because with everything that has happened, everybody was forced to, stop, right? Because before, the world was like, go, 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 go. And everybody was just like on this crazy, treadmill,
Yeah.
just going and going and going. And then we all, like, with everything that happened, everybody was forced to stop, right? And I think that there's been so much introspection, like, in all ways, right? Like, what is life really about? Like, what are the important things in life, right? So
Right.
I think it's like an evolution of that right now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's
And
a great time to be alive for people who are fearful. And I've had lots of conversations with patients who are like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I want to bring children into this. And I'm like, I can promise you, if a soul that's coming in through your body as a child is coming in, they want to be here.
right, they want to join this crazy party
Yeah.
right now. Like, yeah.
So people tend to forget that when we decide to dive into this world, we're divine, omnipotent, eternal, amazing beings. And we come here for this. We come here for the difficulty and the challenges. And you get here and you're sold this thing that if life isn't running smoothly and you don't have the house and the picket fence and the dogs and the 2.5 kids, then that somehow you failed.
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
we're crumbling that paradigm and re-emerging, doing things completely differently. I drove across America last year in the middle of the pandemic, Route 66.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, I hadn't made time to do that before, and I went and did it. And, I was like, it was excellent, and it was daring, it was adventurous, and it was fun. And, I just keep doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Came back from mountain climbing in the Highlands of Scotland. So just, it's getting out there and having these great adventures and doing things, not from a space of fear, like, listen, I've had my hands on so many people in the last year, you can't even count. And I'm as healthy as a horse, I could walk out my door after this interview and get hit by a bus,
Right,
so
right.
it's one of the beautiful things about having had the NDE and having been dead is I'm truly walking through this with bring it on.
Yeah, you're like live life.
Exactly. I don't just talk the talk about, oh, well, if whatever's for you won't pass you by kind of thing. I truly believe that. And so when I'm teaching, when I'm writing, when I'm assisting people in their healing, when I say, you've got to get out there and you've got to do what you came here to do. And you're not going to leave until you've done what you came here to do. And if we were in the midst of a deadly disease, ... to some, not the majority,
right?
We've got to really reframe the way that we're looking at this thing, because everybody isn't dying from this, and most people who are getting sick and recovering. The idea that we're giving over our freedom and our independence and our joy to what might happen, that's no way to live. And I think people are finally kind of getting to the space where they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't live like this. I can't live in that state of shock horror of what might happen.
Exactly.
I'd be more terrified of what might not happen. What adventure are you missing right now?
No, it's so true. And you live life to the fullest. And I've gone through my own challenges as well, not as big as yours, but I mean, I've gone through my challenges as well. And I mean, what doesn't kill you really makes you stronger, and I live life to the fullest as well. Like, I like get joy out of like the dumbest little things, the silliest little things, but that's what makes a difference, right? Like, that's it's your attitude towards life. And you just have to live life to the fullest, right? And definitely. Well, wow, thank you so much, Mary Helen. It's been absolutely fascinating. It's been fascinating talking to you today. You have so much wisdom, you have so much knowledge, you have so much energy, and you're so full of life, and you have such high energy and frequency and vibration. I mean, I think that you're one of those people that really like inspires people to like live life to the fullest. Come on, like,
I'm having fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we should all do, right? We should all be having fun, right?
Yeah. And if you can remind yourself that, look, do I have challenges and hardships and things? Sure, every single day.
Yeah.
But you have a choice to make, whether, you know, if it's a physical challenge, you wake up in the morning, you go, is the pain I'm in today bigger than what I want to accomplish? And that's how I got through, you know, a broken neck and a smashed up
Yeah.
body and all that. That was the
Yeah.
question that I still ask to this day. If somebody is
Yeah.
feeling very low emotionally, go, is the pain that I am feeling in my heart, in my mind, bigger than what I'd like to do today? And
Yeah.
you have to just start each day with that and take that first step and then go out there. It doesn't mean everything's going to be great all the time. Some
Yeah.
of the
No.
most accomplished people that I know, the people that are really, really doing this thing, have
Yeah.
crippling depression, do you know?
Right. Right.
But they make a choice every day not to be that story.
Right.
Because if the first thing that's coming out of your mouth is a string of excuses, do you know,
Yeah.
you still have a lot of work to do with yourself, you know, and that, because that's an outside in approach to life. That's somebody else's fault. If this was different, if something
Yeah.
else, if this would just shift, if only my husband, if only this, you know,
Yeah.
and that's an outside in. Well, you know, health and healing
Yeah.
comes from above down, inside out. It's an
Yeah.
inside
It's an
out
inside
job.
job. Yeah. Definitely. It's about, you know, it's about, you know, taking responsibility for your life and having that awareness, right? That everything begins and ends with you, basically, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And how can people, what's the best way to find you? How can people get in touch with you?
The website, maryhelenhensley.com.
Okay. Perfect, perfect. Well, thank you so much again, Mary Helen. It's been absolutely fabulous to talk to you today. And thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope you got really inspired by this interview. You know, go out and, you know, live life to the fullest. You know, be mindful of what kind of food you ingest in all ways. You know, be mindful of, you know, what you see, what you listen to, you know,
And
all of
remember
that.
this.
Yes.
Here's the big take from having been dead, guys. You already are that which you seek.
Oh,
You can
okay.
remember that. If you
Yes.
can remember that, you already are all of that. You're all of it.
Yeah.
So go be it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Be it. You know, live life to the fullest, and, you know, take, you know, like, take that responsibility for your own life, and, you know, don't depend on the government and the rules and all of this, right? Like, you have to take responsibility for your own life, and find that inner peace and that inner joy, you know, within you, you know. So yeah. And don't forget to subscribe, and give me some likes and comments, and, you know, share with your friends and family. And don't forget that I post a new video every Friday. You know, I have so many amazing guests all over the world, you know, full of knowledge and insights. And you can contact me. My email is lauracoaching@gmail.com, and my website is laurarenenkoski.com. And you can follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So take care, bright lights. Stay well, be happy, and I'll see you soon. Bye.